I've never really had a problem with repaints. I find them to have a lot of advantages, from second opportunities at rare toys to offering a different flavor of character from the original, whether it be the original character or not. In that case, I present to you Transmetal Tarantulas as reimagined by the Fox Kids release. So yeah, when Beast Wars was on Fox Kids, they did a bunch of repaints of existing figures and released them as a little bit of a tie-in. And in this case, we get one of Tarantulas that really changes up his color scheme, which was originally very dark, but still a lot of color to it. This one just gets plain creepy with a lot of black and steel gray all the way through. Little bits of red and green here just for color, but for the most part, black, metallic gray, and some shiny silver in the form of his transmetal components. It's a really creepy vibe to this toy. Something about the green eyes just blazing out from all this dark coloring. It's really, man, it's so appropriate. It's so appropriate for this beast mode. Really, really dig it. So as you can see, it's a transmetal, so while it is a spider, it is completely mechanical in just about every detail we can see. You can see the spider legs intricately detailed and all mechanical. Little blades and little, I'm not even sure what you would call them, but little talons and things hanging off of all these little legs, all articulated as you can see. Going through the head itself, you can see not only the eyes, but a little bit of inner molding to connect them all together. A lot of little panel details and grooves going all the way through. Along the sides, some machine detailing, motors and exhausts, which is an interesting detail, which we will see why here in a bit. Toward the rear, I will show you one of the big problems with the Transmetals from the late 90s and early 2000s, or pretty much any of the Vac Metal Transformers before or during Beast Machines. So, right around here in the rear, you can see all this heavy machine detailing, looking like a big engine is what it looks like. In the center, Tarantulas, as you can tell, which was kind of handy as a kid. That way it kind of helped you remember who all the toys were. But then we get to the paint that's on the Transmetal, and it does not look good. This does not hold up well. So we know from Beast Machines that Transmetal or Vac Metal paint done at that time, not the most durable stuff, but paint painted onto that Transmetal finish, that's even worse. So this stuff, just dusting this toy off for review, this stuff was flaking off on me all over. So that does not hold up well to the ravages of time, unfortunately. But collectors love chrome. Sure we do, Hasbro. But as you can see, all around, extremely well detailed. There's molding all over him, as I would expect from this era. And all of it more to the machine than the beast. To the rear, we can see a little bit more. We can see a gun molded into the back, which I guess is where he's launching out his webbing. But we also have this piece in the back, which I always kind of like. It's like, I kind of like this being the spinneret for the web. It's kind of like spinning as it reels out, or like switching up which one they do. Kind of like web shooter cartridges for Spider-Man, that kind of thing. So yeah, for articulation, all of these are ball jointed. They're all cut toward the top, so they go up and down, except for this one, which goes forward and back, which is fine. And these pieces, which I keep calling mandibles, but someone in the comments always corrects me because I can never remember spider biology. So yeah, that hinges, so you can adjust those. And they're on ball joints up closer to the body, so you can also rotate them as desired and put them a little bit more to your liking. Because it's all ball joints, however, there is no standing this toy up. He is from that Beast era where it's very hard to get a toy to actually stand up. And even right now, it might look like he's elevated. He's standing on his butt is what he's doing. So, unfortunately, that doesn't work too well. So let's get to something that does work a little bit better. This is a Transmetal, so of course, we actually have a transport mode, which they could call a beast mode all they want. I don't care. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't, or they call it a vehicle mode. It's not a vehicle mode. It's a mode where jets and wings start popping out of toys for no apparent reason. Right, so that all extends, bends down, and that gives us Tarantulas in his motorcycle mode, which is why sometimes you see Tarantulas redone as a motorcycle of sorts. The legs you can't keep up here, but they don't go up as high, so I kind of like to keep it a little bit more forward, because I think it gives a little bit more of a... I think it actually adds a little bit more to the motorcycle silhouette that this thing is going for. So yeah, as you can see, it does roll. So you do have that, but there really isn't anything to kickstand it, unless you actually bend one of the legs down, or what I prefer, one of his robot mode arms that can peg out the side, and there we can tripod him a little bit so he can stay up on his two wheels, which I think works out well. This is it's kind of a simple little changeover for the vehicle mode, but it's neat. I think it adds a little bit of character to him. You know, whereas I think it's one of those that's a little bit more useful as far as these vehicle modes / transport modes, whatever you want to call them, go, because you take a slow spider to a freaking motorcycle, man. That's cool. All right, so to transform him to robot mode, first we're gonna have to remove that, and that will come into play later. And the beast mode, by the way, can actually raise these parts up higher and get them more flush to the detailing without that piece attached. So you have that option available to you if you so choose. So I'm going to leave that extended, and it has to come down eventually, so we might as well just put it back to where it was. All right, so I'm going to move these out, and they double hinge out to the side. We're going to move them all the way back for now to give me as much room as I can get. All of this can come forward, and with that starting to move out of the way, we can split the tire and start to raise it up into position. That out of the way, the legs go down, and we'll go ahead and fold out the feet now. All of this hanging loose, we need to get the arms into position. Well, actually, no, wait, hang on. It's been a while since I transformed this guy. I usually do like a quick run through of the transformation both ways to make sure I can remember how to transform it on camera, but considering this guy's transmetal paint was flaking so much, I decided just, we'll just run with it and just see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to move these arms double hinged out to the sides a little bit more, just so I can get some room for these legs to go down and get them out of the way. With that done, now we are in a good spot where we can position the arms. There's a little tab on the inside of these tire halves, which will tab into a little piece on the actual inside part of the arm, and that's what you're aiming for getting in a connection point. So do that again to the other side. Come on. Come on, come on. There we go. Arms folded out. And with that, we can lower this piece down, flip the head out, and just like that, we are all set. This is Fox Kids Transmetal Tarantulas in his full robot mode, where again that creepy vibe is just really strong in this toy. There's so much black and silver, and then just that bright green cutting through all of it. It's a really stark contrast, and it really does get across just how creepy the character of Tarantulas really was. You know, it's one of those things where I really love what a repaint can do to add character to a toy, even if its original paint job was pretty cool already. As a close-up of the head, again, we can see plenty of that green. It's now a primary, prominent detail on his torso, and we've added a little bit more on the head, but the flaring orange eyes and that silver painted maw there in the middle, I think, is a little bit more standout here, as especially being the new details going on. Here's also where you can start to see the organic elements working in. Transmetals worked in reverse. Robot beast modes, and some more animalistic and natural details in robot modes. So you can see some hair going all the way across his head, which is strangely appropriate, but it's more incidental. So as far as the new detailing goes, we do have More green going through in the midsection. He is ripped, by the way. That is a solid 8-pack, and if you want to count the sides, that's a solid 16-pack. This guy does not skip on his sit-ups. But it does add some nice detail to him. Again, more toward the organic than the actual robotic nature of the character. You can see the same in the thighs, which has more of the spider and the tarantulas fur going all the way down. You can also see some of that here in the legs, though it's a little bit more subdued because this has all been painted over for the sake of keeping the toy as black as possible. It's like, how much more black can it get? Well, quite a bit, actually, so that reference doesn't work. And then we see, chrome, transmetal feet. I always get panicky at transmetal chrome on the feet, just because that's what the toy has to rest on all the time. You'd think for sure that would chip. Somehow the silver is held up pretty well, though. It's all that paint that's flaking off now. It's just holding the toy, and oh my god. It's the kind of stuff I'm eventually just going to flake the whole thing off and repaint it anyway. So, the one detail, because it is Beast Wars, is backpack and kibble. He has a lot of it. They really didn't know what to do with the spider legs in this one. At least hanging off the sides, it created an interesting profile look for the character. But here, it's just this big mass of metal talons hanging off of his back. And it is a little bit... It's a little bit strange looking, and it does not make him friendly for putting away in display shelves the way I display my toys, which is unfortunate. And it's maybe the one downside to this figure in general, because there's just so much hanging off of his back and nowhere for it to go. I mean, the ball joints can fold up, and that's not going to work. We can rotate them. We can rotate them around and kind of bring them to the front a little bit. So let's see how that looks. Because I really shouldn't be doing this, because this sucks up time for something that I'm just kind of doing on the fly and didn't really think about it at first. And you know what? Strangely enough, this is something I probably should not have done, because it has nothing to do with the toy or how good it is. I'm just kind of showing off and doing something I hadn't thought of before. It kind of works that way. That kind of works. Oh my god, I made the toy creepier. Now he's got spider legs overhanging all of his body. Oh my god. Okay, I actually kind of like that better. This adds to the creep factor. Let's go with this. Let's go with this. This is the official. This is headcanon. This is how it looks now. Alright, so articulation. It's a ball joint in the head, so it can do all the rotating that we want, and it can tilt up a little bit. Not down, because the next doesn't have the room for that. Ball joints in the shoulders, which get kind of obstructed because of how much part junk is strewn about around this section, but nothing terrible, nothing egregious. Bicep curler arms. There is no wrist or bicep rotation to amend this. His hands, creepy and weird as they are, will always just be sticking straight up. No waist. Thigh joints work very well. Swivel, ball jointed all the way around. Ball joints in the knees, as we have established before, and a rock in the ankle. Not terribly tight, though, so I don't think I trust it for posing, but it's there, just in case you want to use it. So, yeah, articulation for Beast Wars, not all that bad. He does have some kibble issues, but not nearly as bad as some Beast Wars toys had it, so I think we'll give him a pass there. And then we have the front wheel from his vehicle / transport / I want to go fast now mode. Now we can see it is a vaguely buzzsaw shape in nature, which is a unique little thing. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it around this way so the saw faces downward. And then, mounted to the hand, it makes a passable weapon. They actually kind of preferred their melee weapons for transmetals. Working in that third mode kind of did away with all the water squirters and missile launchers as far as the deluxe class goes. So they had to get creative and come up with some melee weapons. And hey, this is way better than just swinging a tail around as a club or a whip. So I will take it. So that, my friends, is... Well, okay, so yeah, one possible flaw to the mold. Those shoulder pieces don't hold in there too well. Can we mount that back now so I can sign this review off? Can we not embarrass me? Okay, thank you. That is Transmetal Tarantulas, the Fox Kids version. This thing, because of how this repaint eventually got used in fiction, commands a much higher price than he used to. He is an extremely cool toy, though. Like, the color scheme, while basic, works. It works so well on this mold and really gives it a different vibe than it had as just plain old Transmetal Tarantulas. Definitely among my favorites of all time, and really makes me happy that Hasbro just loves to milk their molds for all they're worth, because sometimes it turns out things like this.